Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show today. Wow, we've got an incredible guest. We want to talk about someone who's in the know, that's really tuned in, is really hearing like what's going on, like within you, within your animals, within the world. Like she's got that like, you know, as one of those people I could see, like she's very grounded, but she up of mountain view, like she sees everything's going on. Like, yes, I know, I see what's happening, and she's here to help us. She gave me some very interesting downloads about my cat. And ever since I've remembered that every time my cat's going meow, and she keeps saying, oh, meow, 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 meow. She's saying more. Come on, let's have more life, more fun, more good stuff. She's going to help you with tools. She's really adamant. She wants to share incredible tools with you that are going to help you to dial in that sphere of endless blessings and miracles more. And you're going to feel so blessed by the end of the show. I promise you that. You can take that to the bank. And I'm so grateful to have you on the show today, Dr. Laurie Moore.
I am so grateful to be here, Daniel. Thank you so much.
All right, so let's share your background with everybody. Dr. Laurie Moore, human and animal communication reader and coach, is also a doctor of expressive psychology, LMFT, hypnotherapist. Boy, we've got a couple of things in common in there already. I don't have a doctorate though, but with the psychology, somatic, and EMDR practitioner. Was a graduate and undergraduate psychology teacher at San Fran State University, Chico State, and Johnson State College. Author of The Cat's Reincarnation. Come on now, we need to learn about that. Sounds very intriguing. Transformative encounters with animals, and Healing and Awakening the Heart, Animal Wisdom for Humans, Creative Intimacy. Appeared on BATGAP, NBC, CBS, CNN.com, Species Link, John Burgos Beyond the Ordinary, as well as hundreds of other venues. Taught seminars all over the USA, Taiwan, Mexico, Portugal, Spain. Founded and ran the Miracle Ground and Love Climate. I love that. Love Climate. Spiritual Satsangs and seminars organizations. Wrote columns for Center Network, The Connection, and Jennings Wire. I don't know why it's tripping me up for some of the word. I just want to laugh for some reason at that word. I'm like, I don't know, Jennings. Dr. Lark, I'm grateful again that you're here, and man, you're it just seems as though our pets and so many of us empathic type of people, this idea comes to me. I was thinking about it today, that we are sponge-like, and we're constantly picking up on what's going on. Like a lot of people say that you're the expert on it, but like I've heard time and time again that our pets sometimes will absorb energy for us. Like, let's take the sickness away from them and things like that, or if it's subconscious, I don't know. Like that's a whole topic we could get into to start the show. But like, but as empaths, we do it too. Like, take your worry away. Like somebody talks to you and they're like, boy, I feel really good now. I talked to you about all my worries, and then you're like, oh, I'm glad to hear that. And then they walk away. You're like, oh my God, I feel so heavy. Like, and so this idea and this topic comes to me to start to show off with, because I feel like you've had some journey with that as being more connected, sensitive person too. You tell me if I'm wrong, but and that but that you're very sensitive and in tune to what's going on with people, and you primarily do just try to give, hey, no, I ain't absorbing, give you the tools. I get that too, but I'm just saying, like, we often the empathic thing is really up for people these days, and with everything going on in the world. And I know that you've had that journey and moved through it a lot too. So I'm wondering, like, what can people do when they're like, we say, oh, there's endless miracles and blessings or whatever, all this stuff that it's true. I talk about that too. But when people feel so bogged down in their energy, um, what have you learned about that on your own path of how to start to unpack that and release that?
Well, a lot. When I was a beginning therapist, someone came in one time in my first few years and said he was suicidal and that he'd gone to numerous people and that either I was going to help him decide life was worth living or he was going to kill himself. So I know it's a very serious topic, but there's something humorous about just saying such an intense thing right when you meet someone. It was putting a lot of responsibility on me that really wasn't mine. I mean, that's between him and the universe. So I thought, well, what is my responsibility here? How can I help? And what I did for the first few sessions is exactly what you're talking about. I was embracing, I was holding, I was transmuting as much as I could, but I was getting saturated. And he would walk out really light and like, oh, I feel so much better. And I would just feel like horrible. So I thought this isn't the way to go. So I decided I would hold some unconditional joy in the office. And I tuned into the dolphins because they're so good at that. And whenever he would come in, I would just stay in a space of unconditional joy. So if he said something just that felt so terrible and, earth shattering or depleting, I would just stay in unconditional joy. And then only after, I think a couple of weeks it was, he came in, he said, I've been feeling something really different. And the only words I can put to it are unconditional joy. And it taught me something so profound about what I'm supposed to be doing with people and not being doing with people. So we want to vibrate out our best at all times when we're witnessing others. And animals, they do take on. People too. People will transmute, animals will transmute, but you have to do what your job is. And if you go beyond it, you will not feel good. Yeah. And animals sometimes need to be told, you don't need to do that much. You might choose if you have that healing gift, but be careful. Take care of yourself.
Right. Oh, wow. So that's a beautiful story with that client. Like, it goes to show just holding presence, it's so vital. Like, I mentioned this recently to somebody that I have a past, client, but they were doing business coaching with me. But the number one thing they would remark about me is like, I just love to be in your presence. I just love to be in your presence. And like, I mean, they're a very smart person. Is pretty fairly high powered type of person, and like, but yet there was my presence is what it was almost a higher value than everything else is what it seems to be at time, right?
Yeah, I think that's always true. And
Yeah.
you're so lovable. I'm sure everyone loves to be in your presence. You just vibrate the sweetest, like vibrance. Yeah, it's a very unique energy. I love it. Yeah. But yes, I think
I'm being the prod. When I'm being the prod, no, people don't like that. They're like, you're taking the hell out of me, but I do love you still. Yeah, you're still right. Yeah.
I think that's what people are searching for, whether it's their favorite musician or their favorite soccer player or their favorite healer. A lot of it is just the energetic presence.
Yeah, totally. I mean, because you've got all those tools, all these things, all these things you've studied, and yet isn't it that's so primary? And so, what are some of the? I kind of feel guided now to talk about your some of your recent experiences, because I know you haven't done too many interviews. I don't know if you've done any interviews since like your recent challenges. You had a health challenge and whatnot, and I don't want to try to talk about it because I don't understand enough about it to act like I could talk about it without you talking about it first. So, but I know you had a very intense journey that took you to a place where when people are getting ready for you to leave the planet. I mean, it was that intense. So it goes to show, like, we never know. I'm sure it wasn't like when this happened, like you're like, oh yeah, I kind of knew this was coming. Like you
no, not at all. Not at all. Would have never guessed. No.
Yet you miraculously somehow came through it, and everybody literally had you dead. I mean, so tell us a little bit about that journey briefly as it relates to, is a teaching point, like for miracles and blessing, because there's people that are
Sure.
crazy situations.
And I do have to give credit to people who kept declaring. Actually, a lot of people said I wouldn't die. I was dying. I was in the hospice. Some people said 3 to 5 weeks, but there were a lot. I was surprised at how much a big community of colleagues, friends, clients just kept getting in touch with me and saying, you're going to heal, you're going to get well, we're holding the space. So really, it was the opposite of how it usually is, where I'm uplifting everyone and I see the vision and I'm holding the space, because I've never lost it before. But there was nothing, try as I might, no matter what I tried to do, to be well, to vibrate well, to do every kind of wellness practice, the body was going and going and going down, down, down to disabled, dysfunctional, 91 pounds, just laying on a bed in hospice. And that's what happened when I'm here. So what happened was, gosh, so many things happened. I'll just share little things that happen. I don't have a great moral for the story yet. I'm still kind of putting it all together. When I was in hospice, I very much felt I was there to beam love out. I felt I was so much in the other worlds that I just saw all the love and all the pain in people. I'm talking about staff mostly. I had a wonderful roommate who died, and then I had another wonderful roommate, because that's what people do in hospice. They die, and my humor is really quirky. Forgive me, everyone. I just, life is so light. Life is just so light. We come, we go. But I would say between being in hospice and the different people I stayed with, I saw the very best and the very worst of humanity. And when you're seeing people behaving in the most wonderful, saintly ways and the most horrific ways, like, is that who you were? And I've known you 30 years and I didn't know you at all. You have to think, this isn't random, like something is placing me through this. Someone told me it was Dante's Inferno, and something's placing me through this wild ride. I don't know if it was you who said that. Someone said that, but I just had to see it all. It was, and people kept calling and saying, do you remember like this master and this saint and this? They all went through that. And I'm not saying I'm a master saint, but I think, well, if they went through that, there's something to learn here, right? So it was an incredibly profound journey to see the highest of the high and the lowest of the low of what humanity can be. And humanity, I knew. It was inspiring, it was disappointing, it was enlightening, it was contracting, it was just about everything. And it definitely informed how and who I help, because the clients that come to me now can come with such complexity, and the world has gotten so complex from like what I was doing with people decades ago. I mean, people who are growing up today and young today, my God, is the world so complicated. So it's definitely informed me in expanded compassion that was deep and already there to just about everything, because I was put in many circumstances where suddenly I was the person who I could never understand before. I was saying or doing the things because I didn't see any other options if I wanted to preserve my life or my cat's life, or that I thought I would never get in that condition. I would never think like that. And I think I went through 80 different configurations of what humanity can be that I thought I would never experience or be. It just wasn't what I was. And when that keeps happening, you also have to think, okay, I'm in training school. And this time it's not just about my manifestation and my intention to serve and how I want to uplift the planet. It's like training school beyond anything I'm going to be able to fathom for years. Like the integration process is going to take a long time. But I do see that the depth of compassion that expanded inside me was a very deep gift of this really horrific ride. It was the most horrible thing I've ever been through. It wasn't like, oh yeah, now I'm with the angels and the masters. And like that always came to me. I was like it was hellish. It was horrible. I've never felt so, it's like, oh, you spent your whole life doing all these great spiritual, mental, physical, emotional health habits on every level. And this is what you get for it. It's like puzzling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really messes with your mind, as they say. You know, I'm not much into swearing, but you know what I'm thinking. So really messes with your mind, you know. So yeah, I get that. Wow, I'll just say wow to everything you know with your experience, and it does make me think of something a bit different, but an experience that I had is, you know, I've when things were really connected and everything was flowing and my business was, you know, even more expanded than it is at this very moment, although it's headed in that direction again now. There was a moment where somebody came to me at an event and just said to me, it was towards the end of an event. Person like was tuning into something, I guess. You know, she comes up, she says, just make sure you don't give up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, why would I give up? I would never be the person to give up. Not ever. Not ever. I have no clue what you're talking about. And then it was a few years later, like these struggles came in my life and with business and stuff because things went a different way, a new way. I was guided. I wasn't able to, you know, figure it out, so to speak, or land with it or whatever, you know, all this stuff. And literally, yeah, the ideas came, you know, pretty persistently at times. Like they're always just ideas. I didn't take them real seriously, but like, maybe you should just go get a job or go do this or go do something else and blah blah blah. Like, and it's like, oh my God, like that person must have known I was gonna hit a place like this in my life. I couldn't believe that person said that. And I'm like, okay, I guess, like, thank God, like that was a kind of a gift. I don't think I would have give up anyway, but like this person saying that actually gave me some strength because I kept remembering that person said that. Oh wow, you know, don't give up, you know. And yeah, anybody that thinks the deepest spirit, I know you're always very connected and spiritual, but like the deep spiritual, they think that's like a fun ride. Forget about it. It's the worst thing that could ever happen, and yet it's the best thing that'll ever happen. So I mean, and you're direct proof of it. And it sounds to me like, tell me if you see it differently, but it's almost like you some of that was like almost like all these things that were hidden in your psyche, like your shadows all like kind of popped up, and it's like, what the hell's all this? Like, these energies that are around you or in you or however you want to look at it, but like it's like, what the hell? I had no idea. And so it's a massive reorganization, purging, or whatever, death, rebirth process. And so I think maybe this can give people hope that are in that place and maybe listening in today. They're like, oh my God, I can't, it's exactly what I need to hear today. So, I mean, and you're not the only one. You're like, yeah, it's not just saints and these high, you know, these people that go through all these experiences. It could happen to, you know, your next door neighbor that works at McDonald's or something. Like it can happen to anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of experiences. So,
Yes,
but,
absolutely. Yes. People are having all kinds of very intense experiences, and we're passing by people all the time, going around life, and that we don't know everything going on with them. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
right. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean that's a thing that gets us even more awake to it, I suppose, when we have these experiences, even though we're kind of aware of all these things going on and we're very intimately connected because we're so psychic and empathic. But when you have the actual experiences of some of these things, it's like, whoa, some people experience this stuff maybe on the regular, some of these bandwidths, you know, maybe whatever it looks like for them, right? And it's like, whoa, wow. And then the compassion and the love expands. And, you know, I think like it's really hard to see it that way sometimes when we're really hurting, but you know, everything is shows me it's all about deepening in our heart. Like honestly, in my path, it's like that's always ultimately where it points. It's not, man, look at, if I'm gonna manifest everything, or you know, I'm awakened, or you know, it's about just listening to my higher self. It's just about this. It's just about, you know, I don't know. It's not just, if it's just about one thing, to me, it would be like deepening in your heart, if there is any one thing. For
I
me,
think so too. I think so too. When I was coming out of it, which was a very slow process, I was first very childlike, and I, I didn't experience myself with the adult apparatus to navigate the way I do usually, like if I need to calm myself or help create calmness in others, or it was just like this kid and I didn't know what you're supposed to say or not say. And I felt like I loved everyone and it would just kind of come out. And yeah, yeah. So it was kind of like an innocence was washing in the heart, like an innocence that hadn't been so prevalent since, being a child.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that surrender, definitely could lead you to that state. I could see that in part, right? I mean, that's how it comes to me anyway. Wow. So that was amazing that you had all these people that were cheering you on, and yeah, whatever number of people said, yeah, but you're not going to make. I just always think that's so hilarious. Everybody's opinions and stuff. Like, God bless everybody. I mean, everybody, sees it, right? But
Yeah.
medical, we got it. We're the science. We see it. We know what's going to happen. Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't know for sure. So
Yeah.
you always have to keep that in mind. Remember, your doctors don't always know for 100%. And, double check, get second opinions and all that stuff. Because yeah, I see it all the time. So I wanted to get to the part of the story with there's so many miracles you experience, and we could, we decided we we're going to spend the whole show on this piece, but I do want to extract out like what are some of the biggest lessons, at least a high level, like of what you realized through, and then we're going to get to it. And if it's part of it, like that's great, but like, because something brought you all the way through it, right? And I'd love to hear your perception about that. But first, I'm wondering, like, what are all the lessons you feel so far, and it's ongoing, I know, that you extracted through that experience of something that's so horrifically horrifying to have to go through?
Well, one was that there were prophets throughout the time. So even though there were the opinions where you can tell people are kind of making things up based on their brain and body perceptions, there were like literally who I would call prophets. And you mentioned one in your story. So, for example, when I left hospice and I was still barely functioning, my first place I was able to go, I stayed with different people until I was well, was Molokai. And because hospice was in Kona, and because I lived in Hawaii those years. And I just saw a woman and she was so vibrant, and I could barely walk at that time, barely talk, but I walked up to her anyway because she was just so vibrant. And like within 5 minutes, she said, "Oh, everything will snap back. Everything's already created. It's just your body." She said, like your work, your life, a home, everything. You've already created all that. So it will snap back, but you'll have to get to the geographic location that will heal your body. And that's how it played out. A lot of things that were said to me at the time was just like, I just thought everyone was in denial. I was like, I was sure I was dying. And I just thought these people everywhere, they can't deal with it. So,
Right, to think they're just saying that to make me feel better, but I know I'm dying. I know better than they do.
yeah, or to make themselves feel better, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was this phenomenal experience of, something way beyond just my soul's deepest intention to be on the planet in love. It was like something was happening way like a Shakespeare play, like way beyond what I could fathom or understand or create. And that I lived was, about in some kind of perspective, it feels like I made a choice, but it doesn't. It feels like something like I surrendered to a choice that was made. So yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today. Okay, so in other words, like you're probably gonna make it no matter what anyway, but you made it maybe a little easier the more you were willing to deeply surrender, right? Like I believe, like, we can grease the skids for what's inevitable. Every situation a little different, right? And that's not one size fits all, but like here, it's like, well, we can grease the skids to make it a little easier. Or we could fight it more, whatever. But that basically, unless you do something crazy, it's so to speak. Like, I mean, I'm laughing, it would sound like inappropriately if you killed yourself or something, literally, because you can't take it anymore. Like, okay, that would change things, but basically, like, hey, it's headed in this direction. And that you were able to, but I feel like those people holding the vision for you and praying for you and everything was, again, a part of it. Like, I really feel, I believe in that, because I that's something I've been talking about is, some people that are atheists and medical establishment try to say, well, we've done the research, those prayers don't work. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Okay, yeah, right. Even if you think it's just people's beliefs, like, who cares? Like, it's working. I mean, however you want to look at it, it's working. And I think that's something that stands out in your story too, is you had people like holding the vision and seeing it for you even when you couldn't. I think that's really critical too.
Yes, there was a necessity for me to, you first brought up surrender, and then I'll address what you said about the prayer and the vision, but there was a necessity, you were talking about the surrender, to surrender to not knowing. Because the way I would first navigate was I surrendered to that everything my willpower had tried to keep my body well was not working. And so nothing was working. And finally, one day I was like, oh, I misunderstood. It's not about getting well, it's about letting go. My lifeline's done. And then the guides are coming in and saying, well, it's a possible exit point, but and then everything would change around. And it's like, oh, now I'm getting better. Okay, great, rev up, I'm going for it. It's like, no, now I'm dying again. So, and I've had illness, but dying is a very different feeling than illness. It's a completely different. It's the only time I've ever had it, was this experience. And so I finally had to surrender. Finally, I got it, like, oh, I'm not supposed to know, and I don't know. I'm just going to have to go on the ride. And I am a navigator. I'm a oldest child. I'm a creator. I'm not usually like, oh, I'm on the ride. I'm like at the steering wheel, creating the ride, So it's like, oh my God, how do I even do this? But that's what I got to do.
Yeah. Fascinating. Yeah. Like, yeah, I think that, so the lesson was, you don't have to always be driving it. You don't always have to be the one carrying the vision, and that you can surrender. There's something that is, you got more of a full experience that is driving everything, is moving everything. Like, not that you didn't do that before, but that you get a deeper experience of it, so that you don't have to keep overworking in a way. Is, I don't know if that's accurate, but like, that's how
Yes,
come. Yeah. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And the universe did want me to pinpoint my heart's wish. And because my heart's wish throughout the ordeal was, I would like to live if I can go back to functioning. I do not see any point in laying on a bed. It doesn't seem to be contributing to anyone. And it's not contributing to my soul evolution. I didn't think it was at the time. I would say differently now, but my wish was like, I would like to live if I could come back to real life. And I would say that over and over to the universe, to the light, but nothing would click. It was just this endless ride for a while. And then one day I realized my truest wish was really about my cats. It was just, throughout this ordeal, I was doing everything to make sure they would have a really wonderful home and get the kind of love and care I give them. And I wasn't finding anything close to it. I mean, these are cats that are soulmates that I've traveled with for lifetimes, and who have, there's been reincarnation a number of times in this lifetime. So I realized my deepest wish was my cat's well-being, and that I live to take care of them. And then I realized that wish was like, Baji's right here. He's making He's playing. He wants everyone to know, like, he's playing. He just wants everyone to know, like, I'm playing. I'm really light about all this. But then I realized that wish, it was like two sides of the same coin. That was my wish for my life force to remain incarnate, for myself, to be here, to love my cats. And everything else, yeah. It was that simple. It wasn't about anything else. It was that simple. And there was this big click right then. And that's when things started finally changing around after all those dreadful months. And slowly, I started getting my capacities back. And more understanding had come about what this disease was, that I was experiencing, this Lyme disease that I didn't know I had. I had it for years, but I'm such a health nut that I must have maintained with it. So, but anyway, yeah, that was the pivotal point. It was just the sweetest thing. It was just my love for my cats. And like, I couldn't bear see, in hospice, I was on my way out. I was very close. And Baji contacted me, one of my cats, and I thought I had found a wonderful home for them. And, God bless the person I found, a wonderful person, but it just wasn't, they're like, we're doing something together. It's soul to soul. And I get calls from all over the world of people who love their animal children the way people love their human children. And I'm one of those kinds of people. So I work very deeply. They work very deeply with me. They're the masters around here. I cook for them and play with them and cuddle them. They're definitely the masters. But that was what was most important, was so human. It was just so sweet and human. And I wasn't really that great at being a human ever. I always came in very universal. My vision and my mission for my participation in creations on the planet to uplift the planet were always like at the center. But this made me so human, because I was like, I was on death's bed, and Baji contacted me and said, we're not being understood, we're not being cared for the way you expected. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm coming back. I don't care. At that point, I was like, I'll live in a wheelchair, I'll live on a bed. Like, that can't happen. And I remember I was talking actually to a friend of ours, Anna Maria, a few days later, who told me about you, and who told me to call you about your show and learn about it. And I could tell she didn't know what to make of me, because there I was, like, I could hardly function. I'm like, I've had a comeback. I was sitting in hospice weighing like 91 pounds. I couldn't function. I go, Maria, it's me calling you. I'm okay. And I could just feel her energy, like, oh, she didn't know what to do. Like, you're not okay, but I'm not going to say anything. I wasn't okay then.
Oh, wow.
But something got very determined.
You're just having a little delusion there. I don't think your soul is as good as you think. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but you did know. You're like, no, I'm back. I'm going back. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, isn't it interesting, those opportunities, those choice points in people's lives? Like, I could check out of this scene, like, not just even out of your physical body, but just, I could just kind of check out here and not show up, and just, it is what it is, and I'll just let things unfold in my life, and we'll see what happens. And that's the usually not miracle sphere. And sometimes grace is so strong that you receive blessings anyway, but beyond what you would expect. But often what's the truth is that we do need to make the sense of a decision, like that powerful landing, like, that's it. Things are going to change. You're really clear about it. However, that comes through you, but it's clear. It's like it clicks in, like you said, like a feeling. And I know the same thing was true for me in terms of, again, during the time when I'm like, I don't know what's next, and oh boy, things aren't like they used to be, and oh my God, what's next? And it's just, oh wow, I guess I'll just live out the rest. I mean, I look really young, but I'm 54, which is the young. I mean, it's all young, right? But anyway, my point is, like, I was already like thinking, yeah, all right, you'll live another 20, 30 years or something. Like, I was like, that's how pathetic my mind was at times during that period. I mean, like, like, oh, okay, you live a while longer, and like kind of, some of that was setting in. Like, I'm not saying a full rigor mortis kicked in, but like, but like my life, but like it was starting to come in a little bit. Like, just take it easy, just ride this life out. And I'm like, yeah, and then it's just like, and then eventually, no, I was just like, now I'm just like, oh my God, my heart's ablaze, and like I stand for what I stand for, and like let's go, let's plan it, what's going on, all the challenges, all the struggles, and everything. Forget about it. Source God's here. I got Master Jesus in me and everything, and we got it all going on, and we're coming forth. And yeah, things are going to happen, but we're here. We're gonna help people that we can't help. We're going to uplift humanity. We're going to, like, it's just like a big download, right? And it's just like, for you as the cats, for me, it's more like this calling, of love for, many things in the world and everything. And I'm just relating my own story, but
Yes.
I'd make it in one better or worse. I'm just saying, like, that's what for me, like, what snapped me back from not actual death, but like sort of like tuning out more, like, whatever, oh well, this is my life, I'll just do this business coaching or whatever. And to me, that's kind of not a massive amount of sizzle, just doing that versus the work that I'm doing now and stepping further into. So wow. And then so yeah, there's, on the other side, guys, like, there's a huge purpose, there's a huge new thing that wants to happen, I think, is the theme I'm trying to get across by Dr. Laurie sharing her journey, and then me. And there's tons of miracles and blessings that are there waiting for you to be received. But you just, sometimes you have to surrender first, and then it'll snap in. That's kind of what I'm hearing. So I'd love to hear your take on that. But that's what you've probably seen it with a lot of other people you've helped too, right? They're like, I can't take it, like the suicidal person, right? Can't take it anymore. It's time to go. It's time to give up. And you help them to, you know, maybe surrender or whatever. I don't know what all your tools are. Maybe we could learn more about that now, but for the show today. But but like that sense of, like, first, like, okay, I'm gonna let go of my story. I'm gonna let go of the resistance. I'm gonna let go of my fears. And letting the answer come through, let the blessings come through. It seems to be kind of a way it works.
That's very beautiful, Daniel. And I'm learning from you. I think for myself, it was like, it was the opposite. Like I'm being taught to just be so human. Like, I'm not the teacher now, I'm the learner. Like, I was always such a teacher, and I'm learning from everyone around me. And my life's become so simple because it's not all easy now. It's actually extremely hard. And when my dad on the other side told me, when I was lying there in that condition, and he said, at that point, he came in and he said, you have a choice, but I know I'm contradicting myself. I still don't know if I had a choice or not. It's all not clear to me, because I did and I didn't at the same time. But he said, if you're choosing to, like, a bunch of angels and people came and they said, we're waiting to have a party. And if you're through, you have completed everything that you promised. You did it. And you can go, and it can be easy here on the other side for you, and you can just be happy. And then they said, and if you choose to stay, it's going to be exceptionally difficult. So, like, that doesn't fit with my vision or personality. Like, I'm not looking for exceptionally difficult, although I'm great at manifesting, and I have over and over in this life. But I mean, I have repeatedly come up with challenges in my face that seemed to come from nowhere, had nothing to do with past challenges. And then I finished them, and then I helped a lot of people who had them. But it's been so difficult. It's not like I now know, like, I'm completely on the other side of this, and now I'm going to live till I'm 85. I don't even know if I'm going to live tomorrow. I don't know anything.
Right. True.
Yeah. I mean that really, really seriously, but I have to live so very simply, and my days have to be very simple, or I get in a bad condition again. So it's not like all solved. It's like I'm being really functional with this situation that is happening. So it's a great teacher of patience. And can you hear Baji? Do you want to say something about it, Baj? Yeah, you disagree? Yeah, thank you. He is.
It is very fresh still. I mean, it's not like this happened like 3 years ago or something. This is still pretty fresh. It's just within this last year or so, right? So all these things
Yeah. Yeah, I've just only been independent again for a couple of months, maybe 10 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, so you're moving fast, given that that's true.
And you've completely blossomed into this other phase from whenever that happened to you long ago. When did that happen to you?
It wasn't that long ago that I was in those vibes. But yeah, even within the last, year or two, for sure.
Oh, it was really recent too. Okay.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
clicking in really just happened with the last month or two, like, yeah, very recently.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah,
Yeah,
got
but
it.
it's very clear, like even with heavy energy that comes onto me, because there is some heavy energy coming up, because I don't know, like some of you and others may understand, as I say, you definitely don't understand, but there is a heavy energy, not just
Yeah.
my energy, but in the
No,
world,
the
connected with
world.
me.
Yeah.
And so I can feel that as as the ambassador for the light, that I am, and that so I deal with that, but like because this inner fire and this inner light is so turned on, I can just feel it in my body and my being. As of this moment today, recently, I don't know,
Yeah.
knows how long things go on for, but like right now I can feel all that and be like, yeah, but everything's fine. I'm lit and I'm doing my work, and that is all part of the work. It's all part of the work.
Yes. Yes.
We're gonna move through
Yes.
it. We're gonna move
Yes.
through this, rather than
Yes.
like, well, I'm getting worried about all the things, constantly going back to places like that, which I even got into. Like I was never that person, like in the past, like you. I was never that person. I was always positive, always a metaphysician. We always get the consciousness right, get the consciousness right. Like constantly being that way, right? And so I was known as the most positive person on the planet by some people. I mean, that knew me, like, oh yeah, I've never met anybody more positive, and I was falling into that with COVID or whatever, all the things where we run into with all this stuff are crazy. I almost like get rid of our phones and stuff, right? Like, but use them more responsibly or something. I don't know. But anyway, like all this noise in the world and all the suffering and all the actual things that are happening, it's like we're going through a crucible for some of us.
Yes. Yes.
So
It's all the sensitives, all the light workers. It's such a bombardment, the kind of energies that are happening. And, some people can just walk through it. And I'm just, oh my God, just anywhere I go, there's a lot going on. So the force field from within has to totally take over to have the strength to go through what's happening in these times. And there are these extreme planetary energetic influences we've never seen before. I've never experienced anything like it before. I don't think in any lifetime, maybe when we blew ourselves up in Atlantis, but no, there's something qualitatively different. And the polarity, the goodness, the purity, and the evil is so intense right now. You can just feel it. I have to navigate where I can even go. I don't have the force field to deal with all of it. I need my home temple to be so clean. And if I'm going to go out in the world, I'm very careful about if I get a signal to not go somewhere, I don't go. Yeah, it's very intense right now. It's so intense every day.
I think this embrace of the unknown is a huge aspect that you mentioned earlier, because anybody that says they know what the future is probably completely wrong. That it's not exactly what they think anyway. But we can sense like this. There's something coming, and it doesn't feel good. Like I think everybody, most people feel that anyway right now. I mean, there's always other people, but like I think most people feel that, and it's not like I'm being negative. It's literally a felt vibration that's in the air. It's just so palpable, and it's just like, okay, all right. But then it's like, but if we can realize we're still so blessed, even though, we're struggling, like if we are having experience of struggle, that we're still so blessed, and we can be so grateful
Yes.
for
Yes.
how we're connected, the light and the lightness, our cats or whatever.
Yes.
Everything. You got your stone out, you got your plant out, everything. And like, we're so blessed. So we could put our attention on that, even if we're experiencing a lot of challenge.
Yes. Well, that goodness, that sweetness, that intense light, it's right here. So even though if I look out and there's all kinds of things happening everywhere, that doesn't do anything to this world. This world that I acquiesce, choose to surrender and to embody, be with, it's so strong. That light, it's so strong. It is the universe. Like, the universe is everything, and it goes on forever. It can't be negated by any physical play out that occurs on this planet of polarity, this beautiful, incredible earth of nature and animal and elements, that offers us so much if we choose that as a group. But whatever we choose as a group, everything just reverberates forever, and it finds other location. And when I was dying, that's where I was. I was like, okay, if I'm finding other location beyond incarnate, it's still the same. It's just a different task. But if I'm here, nothing can stop this universe I inhabit. It's unstoppable. There can be experiences where physically the brain, still having the brain, the body are being affected by things, but what's deepest inside, it's like right here. It doesn't, like you said, Christ is here, the universe is here, Mary Magdalene's here, everyone's here, Laurie's here, Daniel's here, everyone's here, Baji and Bala, the cats, are here, but the universe of what you are keeps going. It can't be changed. Only the brain and body can be changed. Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, and that's the ground from which we need to realize is our that essence, that truth is like the only, I would keep saying this, like, it's your only salvation. You keep looking at all these different things in the 3D world, forget about it. I hope the governments get better. I hope they don't fight. I hope they start behaving. And yeah, okay, that's probably not going to happen, by the way. Probably can create some miracles, right? But overall, shit's going to happen still. Things are down in the consciousness right now, and we we have to realize our only salvation is that connection. We've had as a collective, not individually. Like, individually, there's people have gone through all kinds of things in the Western world and US even, or whatever, but like, as a collective, we actually didn't realize how good and easy it was, like, in a way, like, good in that it was easy. Oh, life's pretty easy. Oh my God, I want a bigger refrigerator. Damn it. I hate my life. This damn little refrigerator, I can't handle it here. If I go one more day, I can't handle it with this refrigerator. Levels of complaints that we're going nuts about. We can't even handle it. Now it's like, I hope we don't all die. Like, bigger ideas are coming in now. What our daily life for most of us pretty comfortable still. I mean, but in terms of like just like being provided for, right? Like physically, like we're going to eat, things like that. But energetically for the people listening, like, not everybody, but a lot of us are feeling the intensity. And what are some of the, what we just said is a huge tool and key is remember that light within. I always say, meditation. My clients, I just realized, like, if they're not meditating, especially these days, forget it. They're out. Like, they, again, are not effective. Like, that's been my experience, at least. If they're not meditating, forget about it. They just can't seem to get things going in their life or their business. And so I'm just like, just don't even argue with me. Just meditate. Like, I just get over it. that whole meditate to medicate kind of thing, that is your medication kind of, I really believe it is for a lot of us. And I think, whatever that means for you, I guess moving meditations are good too, but, deep stillness is really good. So if, I really believe in it. And I think like that's one of the tools, like everybody can learn how to meditate. I didn't think, my mind was so crazy. I didn't think I could ever still it in the beginning. And yet now, no problem at all. I mean, I can totally still my mind whenever I truly want to. I just like, okay, all right, just get still. I mean, no problem.
Yeah. Well, in that silence, in that place where the oneness is no longer a concept, it just is, and there's just that light, you can feel all the masters are present. There's just like the flavor of every master that we are, that lived, from the named ones to the unknown ones to the butterflies that are masters, and cats and monkeys and dogs. Like, it's all there. Like, we're all in it. It's like a big community. It's one thing, but then there's flavors, and it's all accessing itself, and it can't be altered when you're in that state, when you go in that silent meditation state, or when it just by grace takes over you. That's just a realm that's not alterable. It's forever.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what are some of your, I know you have some really, like you mentioned one earlier, what are some of your big, as we shift the focus here a little bit, just to like the miracle sphere you see for your clients, like what are some of these, some of the tools and practices that you share with them that radically have changed their life so they do have more grace and more ease? Everybody's in there, not everybody is, experiencing the level of challenge that maybe you are right now at this moment. Like you'd experience all this before, right? Like it's not like this has been every day of your life. Like it's just, this is a passage, we all have it. But like what things have you done to help other people like radically start seeing more miracles and
Yes.
blessings?
Well, once people are simply aligned with their deepest soul intention, and their personal intention is their soul intention, and they're open to that occurring in any way, although they might make a map, but they're open to that occurring in any way, and they specify that they're willing to have it happen in a way that everything's blessing them, everything's prospering them. Because when we're in service, like I spent most of my life being, how can I serve? How can I uplift? But I had to really shift that, so I allow everything to bless and prosper and uplift me. It's just simple little choices like that. But when you make those from your heart and soul, the universe supports you totally. And when your manifestation is just to align your personal self with the universal manifestation that created you, that already has that intention through you, it's the same. Your personality goes with that soul intention. And then everything is a miracle. Like, what isn't a miracle? Like, this plant is a miracle. This rock is a miracle. Everything, it just, it is like, it's miraculous. And then you're attentive to all the incredible, abundant, good gifts of life that are happening constantly. And I think what goes hand in hand with that is being willing to change your personal human cycles of patterns that are no longer serving your upgrade into your next level of evolution and light. And people are doing a lot of intricate work like that nowadays. A lot of times nowadays, people are coming to me because they're being very honest about cycles of patterns that affect the brain, the shadow sides, the emotions, the spirit, that they don't want to blame it on anyone else anymore. They don't want to have a story about it. They just want to change it, and they'll do whatever it takes. So there's that real human, visceral work to do. And then there's also the just total, what I was talking about first was kind of total faith in the divine plan. So it's a combination of both. So most people that are coming to see me today are either coming to talk about what's going on with their animals, or they're coming to do that work.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because you said you called them, they're not like, oh, these are pretty easy clients. Just kind of do this little bit of this or that work, and they're going to be really good. Like it seems like they're coming in, they got some really complex situations or issues going on, and you're able to work with them in a way that you're in awe of it. It sounds like when I was talking to you about it, like, wow, now it's like easy to work with people like this because of my experiences.
Yes. So the ones that can go to simplicity and also deal with all the complexity, because it just doesn't work anymore to people, a lot of people will want to think that, okay, I have a problem and there's one element that caused it, and now there'll be a solution. And I caused it because I create reality. And if I caused it, I just have to change myself. And that's a little bit of a fairy tale because there's so many factors that have gotten humanity and the earth to the state we're in. Mm-hmm. And so if we have a simple intention, think, and we can surrender that over, give that over to something much greater than us, then all these factors can start to shift and change and acquiesce. But that's not a guaranteed outcome. It's not an outcome the way you envision it. And it's not an outcome that you can count on happening right in the second. The intention's happening. Parts of the outcome are happening. But there's a lot to do these days because things have become complicated because the natural environment is no longer being consulted. And that we're not consulting the natural environment. We're dominating it. We're hurting it. We're poisoning it. I'm not blaming us or shaming us. It's just something that's happening that was done in good intention to try to help humanity, but it's backfiring now. Right. And that's why this plant and this rock came to this meeting to say, like, please take some time to listen to trees and listen to animals and listen to that which could heal everything in a very real way. Like manifesting till we're spinning out and AI is taking over. And I didn't say I was against AI. I just said until we're spinning out and things are taking over us and people have given away their control, and you call someone on the phone about something and you can tell something's running through them that's not Mother Earth, it's not nature, it's not air, earth, fire, water, or their own heart or soul. Like something has to stop. And what are we listening to? Well, I'm listening to some trees outside and the earth and and the light that travels through that, because they're all very humble. The animals, they're still listening. And a lot of humanity that we're forgetting. There's ploys to pull to listen to some other force that's working very hard through all kinds of mechanisms, but not through Mother Nature and Father Nature, because it can't.
Yeah, the ultimate defrag. Get out in the forest, hang out. Definitely helps to let some of that stuff go. And nature, right? Just being in nature, just really connecting with nature is huge gift, huge opportunity. That talk about the miracle blessing sphere, right? Everything's so beautiful, and to be able to allow ourselves to experience that, and to delight in that. And I've been saying for a while, like, you can pass all the laws, you can do all this stuff to try to help the planet. If people foundationally don't change their consciousness and get out and really love and connect nature and get, therefore love themselves and everything, and nurture themselves more deeply, like, forget about it. Like it's not going to work. Ultimately, laws aren't what do it. They may support, things, but it's not going to change things in the bigger seismic way that we want. We have to get more connected with our essential nature, with nature itself, and come back to that simplicity that you mentioned. Like, when everything's complicated, come back to your simplicity.
And I think also just some humbleness, which you've expressed a lot, and gratitude is kind of, to me, that's really mostly what matters all day. That I'm constantly in gratitude and willing to be guided and thankful, and being very clear about what I'm asking for and what I'm willing to share and give, because I do feel at the mercy and grace of something so huge. And like, that's not a popular language in some of the circles I will be in, but what I mean by it is, I don't mean it in a fear way. I mean, I feel like the deepest love of the universe will help me if I can be that child innocence that came out, and let the help come in ways that I just never expected. And yeah.
Yeah, like it has during this journey, this most recent journey. You manifested all that help, so to speak, or like God did, or whatever. Who cares? But like you let it come in. So, and you got to have that experience, and how beautiful that is, and yeah, and then yeah, when we're I think that's a good way to learn to live, like for all of us when we're challenged. Okay, down to my simplicity, one mouthful at a time, one breath at a time,
Yeah.
one little
Yeah.
thing at a time, one little thought at a time, one little observation at a time. I mean, because that keeps you in that connection rather than in your mind. It's like, how's everything going to work out? Oh my God. It'll work out as long as you just keep staying connected and showing up to what you know you're supposed to show up to. You show up full force when you're called to, but otherwise, I mean, sit around and to get caught up in the wheels of your mind, that's hazardous. Anyway.
Yes.
Do you have any quick tools to share with people that feel like, yeah, I don't know, I have these obsessive thoughts though of doom and I can't get out of it? Do you have any quick ideas?
Yes.
You already have been, sharing things, but any quick tips or tools?
Yes. Just if everyone would please take a moment and take a breath and feel your heart. And whatever you feel in your heart is not wrong or right or wrong. It just is. And keep breathing. And note deeper and beyond everything you might have been thinking or feeling that was not delighting you or pleasing you, to just be here with what is, beyond a judgment of it or a trying to shift it, to just be in your heart and to feel right now in your heart, and to let whatever is in your mind or the sensations of your body or the emotions of your body just to be and pass through. But to keep going a little deeper into that light, deep, deep in your heart, to know that brightness. And let that be what you pay attention to simply alter the focus back to that. And if you say, oh, in my heart, there's just upset right now, then just be so lovingly present in that upset. What you call upset, it's just a vibration, to be present with it, to just be with it. It takes you then into something a little deeper below it, and to stay with that. And to stay with that. And then if you feel something different, just keep letting yourself rest into that. Just keep letting yourself rest into that. And if you still feel something that doesn't delight you or please you, just be with that. Just be so present with it, it's beyond words. It simply is a sensation. And to be there in love with that. And let yourself rest there. Let yourself rest there. And you go a little deeper. And you feel where you are right now. That's all. There's nothing to run from or change, but just to feel where you are. And the goodness can come back. It just needs you to settle and listen for a moment. And if it's hard remembering to, like we spoke about nature, go listen by a lake or the ocean or the river or the trees or the plants or the sun, or someplace where the air is fresh and there is not a lot of noise and computers and phones are off, to just be. And then you reset. It's that simple. You just reset your starting point. If your mind's saying, no, like Daniel said, we need a new refrigerator or something, just laugh. Just let yourself laugh about it all. But then just be there wherever you are. Just be there, right there. And keep doing that a few minutes now, a few minutes later. And you start to come back. And then you don't have to make an intention. What's my soul intention? I need to figure out my soul intention. I don't know what my soul intention is. You just get to be there. You get to be there, and that's it. It's soul intention is such a deep flavor. The way it out pictures can happen next. But right now, just be here, quietly, just being right here, right here. And when you're ready, everybody, you can open your eyes. When you're ready.
Very nice. Dr. Laurie, really cool. It's very good. Definitely felt that sense of, falling in as you're talking about, and then just, yeah, the ease and the flow of that. And it's funny, it's like layers, right? It's like layers and layers, and it's like, oh, okay, that's gone, but there's another one. Like, so it came up for me. I'm like, ooh, okay, I see that. Um, like for me, there's like these mm, like like this idea that the deeper I go in the light, like the more the devil wants me. Like again, real or metaphorical, I don't know, but whatever. Like
I
I
understand completely. I so relate.
I mean, I've literally had the experience. Okay, I'm not going to say it's real because what do I know? But I've had literally the experience of powerful people that people would know if I named their name come into me saying, "Come work for us." I'm like, no, like, fine, suffer then. Like literally, that's what the encounter was. I'm like, no, not that either.
I get it. Yeah. And you said no, and you didn't go into your fear. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be like us. Just start dominating. Just start taking over and work with us. It'll be a good thing. Like, yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah. I really understand that deeply. Yes. I get
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. We could tell a whole big long story, but we won't get into it. Maybe another show we'll get into all that. My experience of the dark side following me on my path, saying, "Come with me," and it is. That's why I think that Star Wars people relate because they have some experience with that, right? The good, bad sort of thing, and the dark side, and the Force, kind of thing, and like, yeah, the deeper you go into the Force, sometimes the darkness seems to get darker too, and
It's
um,
true. Yeah.
and yet it still wants to be enveloped into the light. Is my sense of it anyway, my experience of it so far. So, guys, we together, this is why we have this podcast so far, to keep the light shining bright. Dr. Laurie, if you want to comment on that's great. But I also want to get to
Do.
like people
Yeah.
be reach you and come. Yeah, honestly,
Okay.
God, I mean, like, guys, like we had an interactive live show. I'd have her, like, if you had animals, I'd have her talk. She does really good with animal communication as well, and like she's a master of that as well. Like she has so many gifts and talents and to share with you. So yeah, tell them about what they can take advantage of your services, etc.
Sure. You can get a hold of me at annamiracles.com. That's ANImiracles.com, or annamiracles.com/new. That's ANImiracles.com/new, NEW, to do sessions. And you can do your session in any way you desire. In other words, what your intention is what I will honor, and I will bring all the different tools. I will work with you, I will facilitate, I will read, I will coach. If you live in California and you want to do therapy, you can do that too. But I will assist you in what it is you want to shift or release or create. And I also will work with you to understand your animals on this side, or animals that passed over, or any animals in your life. So you just go to my website again, annamiracles.com or annamiracles.com/new, ANI Miracles, and get a hold of me.
Nice, nice. And so you guys can find that all in the show notes below, and yeah, if you just Google it, you probably find it that way too. But or duck go duck or whatever, whatever you got. Uh, so yeah, let's just take a moment then. The show time is eating up fast here. Let me just do a quick yeah, we're gonna do a quick download for Laura. At least we get one good download minimum in today. and then we'll start to wrap up a little bit. Guys, listen, this might be the one download you need to hear for you too, because we're all interconnected. So listen in. All right, so here we go. Are you ready, Laurie?
Yes.
There, Laurie. Okay, one moment. Let me tune in. Okay, so I'm getting probably, and I was evoking it earlier, but I think it's apt to share. I'm getting Yoda coming through, and to consider yourself Yoda-like, in that I don't remember from the movie, but I just get, he was in a pretty dark, swampy place when Luke went to be with him, right? And then Luke had to go through like okay, face the dark side and your stuff, and remember that. And it's sort of, that's what I'm seeing with you. It's like Yoda, like, okay, again, it's a story, but like there's realness in these stories, right?
Yeah.
Like Yoda spent, like, I'm getting like hundreds of years like facing this darkness, or like this intensive time, really a really dark place. So to consider that, like, oh, I probably won't do hundreds of years. I don't have to go that far. So whatever you're dealing with and other people are dealing with, listen, like it may be a few more weeks, it may be a few more months, it might be a year or two, but whatever, it was even a few years. It's not hundreds of years at least, okay? Like, or endless lifetimes. And it will accelerate. You will get through to the other side, even if it's been decades already. Like, I know some people are like, but all my life. And like, yeah, it doesn't matter. The breakthrough's coming. It's still not hundreds of years. So, and look at the level of mastery when you think about a Yoda. Part of his power and his level of attainment of whatever, enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, came through that crucible of the darkness. And it's worth it, guys. It's just totally worth it. I mean, my own experiences with it. Dr. Laurie, you're a little fresh still in it, but I'm sure you would agree. It's ultimately, you can already sense it's worth it. It's just like, yeah, it is really intense to be a human, and to choose to become a human. And, we're all going to be doing that, because here we are. So it's okay. Sometimes it's not too bad to be human. It's easier, but it gets to be, it seems complex and can be very, very tough being a human sometimes.
Thank you, Daniel. That was really what I needed to hear, and I appreciate it deeply. And my whole nervous system just took like a deeper relax when I was like, yes, okay, it's okay if it's another 100 years, but you're spot on. Thank you.
Right. Put everything in perspective, right?
Well, when you said it, I felt how in these challenges, there's such goodness that's being worked up and happening all the time. Like, it comes right through the hands and the experience. And if the challenge isn't honored like God, it's just, that's a challenge, but God is God, like goddess is goddess, then there's something that is being worked, almost like when you're doing pottery. It's like something is being worked every day if I stay in that gratitude, that humbleness. So thank you. I love that. Thank you.
All right. Everybody, check out what I'm up to. You can go to yoursacredpurpose.com. There's that free make money meditation. Just get it. Okay, I've been talking about it for years. Just get it finally. If you've been listening to this show, just, if you haven't got it yet, or if you haven't listened to it yet, just start listening to it. Just start meditating, please. Okay, we all need some more meditation. On average, the world needs more meditation on average, for sure. So go ahead, start meditating. You usually guided meditations are a little bit better. And guess what? For people that use it regularly, they report, boy, more abundance, more money. My business is growing. The only thing I changed was listening to this meditation. So go ahead, get your free make money meditation. You want to explore getting an energy scan consultation with me, there's that opportunity on my website too, to get a Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan consultation. Check it out. Be honored to help guide your path, into your power, into your heart space, into who you really are, and to be able to rock it from there. So check that out at yoursacredpurpose.com. All right. So Dr. Laurie, thank you for coming on the show and sharing. I feel very honored that you came on the show, and one of the first ones that coming back from everything you've been experiencing and sharing this amazing journey and into being a Yoda or beyond, like a passageway into such amazing things and where you are even right now. I mean, it's so really in an ultimate sense is really amazing.
Thank you so much. I loved this show. It was wonderful. I'm very, very grateful. And may I add one thing I just thought of? I'd like to gift anyone hearing your show a 10-minute gift reading. And there'll be a place on my calendar where there'll be no fee for that. And usually people pay quite a lot for even a 15-minute reading. So I get a lot done in 10 minutes. It works fast and it's very valuable. So you're welcome to look on the calendar for the 10-minute gift reading, and you may sign yourself up for that if you like. Yeah.
Honestly, let me tell you guys, it will change your life. I'm sure of it. So that's a really hot offer. That she is a miracle. That's why she's still here to give you the miracle. All right. So Dr. Laurie, thank you so much for coming on today. It was awesome.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you to all our listeners. Keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time. The Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.